Why, hello there, and welcome to the happiest place on earth, Micro Center. So what better thing to do on a beautiful morning than build ourselves a back-to-school gaming PC?
Welcome back to school.
Well, thank you. Do you happen to have any PC components available at very reasonable pricing?
Well, it happens to be what we specialize in.
Obviously, we gotta go to the RGB land. You guys do have Ryzen 5 5600Xs. These are what, like 280 bucks?
Just about.
This definitely seems like what we should really build the system around. Now, for boards, do you have anything ITX?
Well, we should have plenty of options. B550.
So we've actually used this in the past. One of the nice things about pretty much all ITX boards is that they do have Wi-Fi already built in, which especially in a dorm is probably gonna be pretty helpful.
I doubt you'll have wired, if I'm honest. So we have things like the NZXT H210i.
So with a smaller case like the NZXT H210i, I think I'll be in fairly good shape as far as a chassis. It looks nice, almost like...
Were you gonna say it looks nice as me? Were you trying to compliment me
That's
there?
what I was trying to do, but I didn't want it. I didn't want your head to get too big. All right.
Oh, wow.
You're like, I'm not opening the store for you early anymore.
Yeah, no, not anymore. You're gonna have to shop here like the rest of them.
So for memory, for a system like this, 16 gigs really should be all that we need. You know, it's funny. This is such an easier experience when I'm not here with Ken and Matt.
It's the fastest experience we've had to date, I gotta be honest with you.
I've always had a lot of luck with Samsung SSDs, and specifically the 980 and the 980 Pro, but because we're trying to do something that's on at least somewhat of a budget, I think the standard 980 is gonna make a lot of sense. Hey look, it's a 980 just on cue.
You know what your next trip to Micro Center could use? A free pair of Bluetooth headphones. All you need to do is check out the link in the description, throw in your email address, and you will be emailed an in-store coupon to pick up a pair of headphones just like this for free. So what are you waiting for? My voice just cracked because I'm so excited about the deal.
And speaking of the deals, you can check out the link in the description to enter the Micro Center Back to School contest for a chance to win a $500 Micro Center gift card.
Oh ho, good morning, friends. Would you enjoy your luxurious sleep?
You mean us, the overworked boys at Overclock Media?
Well, I'll say that we have successfully shot basically the whole video at this point. Y'all can go.
We need you anymore.
Yeah,
We're independent now.
Just go home.
BT hasn't shot any of this, right?
All right, so now that we have a slightly higher end camera to play with, why don't we take a look for a monitor? I want something that's gonna be a little bit smaller, importantly affordable, but realistically I want something that will easily fit on a fairly small desk. So 1080p, 144 hertz, 180 bucks. This might be what we want to go for. Because like our system realistically should easily be able to play at 1080p 144. We could probably go up to 1440. The only downside though is that we're gonna have to go for a much larger monitor. This might be the actual move. Now, this is not something that I normally would do, but because we're trying to build a very space constrained setup, I want to go with a 60% keyboard, specifically the HyperX Alloy Origin 60. For a mouse, I think we should go with the Haste. I've not tried this yet, but at $50, not only is it one of the lighter weight mice that has the honeycomb sort of carve outs, but importantly, I think this will be a nice pairing, so we can kind of keep our RGB software to a minimum. Do we have space for a headset?
I mean,
we should get a headset,
I would
right?
hope so. In a dorm room, you don't want speakers. You're going to annoy people.
Or you really want speakers?
No, I want to listen to things in privacy.
It's very clear you never had roommates.
Yeah. Some things are not meant to be heard,
I'm
Austin
never
Evans.
sure. Yeah, like the rest of this conversation. All right, friends, it is time to build the back to school gaming PC. Now, we've done tutorials in the past. If you really want the step-by-step, but the idea with this system is really to try to build something which is not simple, not beginner, but nothing which is particularly complicated. When it comes to building a PC like this, you actually have quite a few different options. So I would say that this is probably on the upper end of the mid-range of gaming PCs. We've got ourselves a 3060 Ti, we have a Ryzen 5 5600X, but a lot of what we're doing here could easily be subbed out with a more expensive or less expensive graphics card based on what you're able to find and what's in stock at your friendly local Micro Center, as well as things like the Ryzen 5, which generally speaking is pretty much the best deal right now, but you can go up to a Ryzen 7 if you'd like, or down to a Ryzen 3 if you would like. I have never built in the H210i in the past. I built several systems in its bigger brother, and this looks really like just a shrunken down version of it. One thing you need to keep in mind with this case in particular is that there is somewhat limited GPU compatibility. You can fit a fairly long card in here, but you cannot do a 2.5 or 3 slot card, which I think our 3060 Ti will fit, but it will not have a ton of room. So if you're looking, especially when you get into like the 3070s and the 3080s and the higher end cards, a lot of them are chunkier. Just keep that in mind before you pick up this case. Pro tip. This is take one of the Micro Center PC build portion. Now it is time to build our gaming PC. When you have smaller cases, a lot of times like cable management gets kind of tricky, and just being able to fit like different kinds of graphics cards, fuck my life. The 3070 absolutely will not fit in that. It absolutely will not fit. It's a dual slot case and it's a triple slot card. There's no chance it'll fit. I'm gonna throw this build out the window. Was this mystery tech? Do you throw things? Oh! This is the Pixel hat! So, oh god, this was probably 2-3 years ago. Ken and I went to a Google Pixel launch. It was a I/O like 2018 or 2019 or something. And they gave us these spinny hats because it would be funny. And now I'm gonna back to school. Hey, force jokes that don't work. I'll take it for $5,000, yeah! I've used NZXT power supplies a few times in the past, but their little bag for all of your modular cables is really, really nice. Also, I just am partial to purple, so I'm just saying that is a thing. So this is the 650 watt, which it is, as you can see, fully modular, and it is gold rated. They also do a good job. It's all powder coated and very sort of matte black, which doesn't actually matter too much in the case because it's gonna be right down there. So before we install our power supply, we have pre-sleeved our cables, or pre-extended our cables, which I think will go a ways toward kind of helping the black interior pop. God, you know what? I feel like we're like a home improvement show. Oh, a little splash of white in our interior will help kind of liven up the place, feel a little more airy perhaps. This might be top 10 smoothest builds of my life right now. It's so easy. A simple tutorial will easily teach you how to build, and I need to watch that tutorial.
What is this?
A motherboard?
Yes. Do you know what this motherboard does?
It needs to be updated, the BIOS.
Yes,
for
because
5th
it
gen
probably
Ryzen.
doesn't support this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we will do this ahead of time.
All right, fine.
So we don't build this computer and unbuild it and build it again like we do every single build behind the scenes.
So I have now updated the BIOS on our B550 board, which actually wasn't super far out of date, but I'm glad we did it because it still was borderline if that actually would have worked with our Ryzen processor. So we'll go ahead and pop out our Ryzen 7, or actually no, this is a 1600X, which is our update processor. And we'll just do a little upgrade here. Load up our 5600X. This really is an excellent gaming processor. You've got the Zen 3 cores, so you have great single thread performance, and you have 6 CPU cores, which means that you can really do basically anything up to and including streaming. I think now I just need to install our Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition.
Okay, question.
Yep.
Are you sure you want to do that before you put the
board in?
Will you be able to reach some of the screws with the Hyper 212 already installed?
There's only 4 screws. I can see, I think so. That should
As
be
long
fine.
as you're confident.
Why do you gotta say it like that? As if the next thing people see in the video is a flash forward to...
Look, if I have to hold the camera for 10 minutes longer than I have to, I'm going to get very upset.
You know what I would get very upset about?
Don't say it. It's
If
fine.
I show up to Micro Center in the morning and no one else is there, so I have to shoot the video by myself on my phone. I mean, hypothetically, of course. So we've made good progress. So not only did we reorient the fans a little bit, so essentially the top fan we've moved to the front because we didn't really have the clearance. And I think Ken was very much right. Having the rear exhaust fan hop over to the cooler helps it to be a little bit more consistent. These are 2 different fans, so ideally we wouldn't be doing that for aesthetics, but we're gonna get the roughly same amount of airflow, and I think it's gonna look especially once you have the window on, a lot cleaner. Other than that, it's starting to come together. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide our graphics card in. This is the part which is gonna be a little challenging because it is a very, very tight squeeze. It'll fit, I think, but it'll fit by a very small margin. Look at this, look at this. That's it. That's how much we fit by.
Looks very clean, though I question, again, that ability of airflow, but...
I can actually I have a little bit of clearance to screw it in over here. So I might try to like tilt it up a little bit. It'll have some airflow here and it is ventilated on the bottom. I'm not gonna say that this is the best airflow for a graphics card I've ever seen, but I think it should be okay, especially because it's an open cooler. Our system is actually mostly complete. So there's a lot of cable management I need to do, and what was I thinking? Why did I just screw the graphics card in?
Why?
All of my cable management in the back, I'm not gonna be able to remotely come close to touching.
Oh wait, you didn't do the front panel.
I totally forgot. I plugged nothing into the motherboard besides the CPU power. Okay, that's gonna come back out. But other than that minor oversight, which will only take a moment to rectify, I think we're looking pretty good here. And so we have completed our back-to-school gaming PC setup. Now, as you can see, it actually looks pretty decent. Now, we've taken some liberties, mostly with the table, which we have maybe borrowed from our previous setup, but this is just an IKEA tabletop as well as legs. And this should give you a good sense of what the system looks like when you actually have it on top of your desk with a, I'd say, small to medium-sized tabletop. Now, when it comes to the PC itself, I think it came together fairly nicely. Of course, we have our specs, the Ryzen 5 5600X. We did go with that RTX 3060 Ti, but importantly, it all did go inside the H210i case. Now, I want to talk about that for a second because there are a few things that I learned as we were putting together the system. Now, first of all, it is, while not the smallest case in the world, fairly easy to build in. The things you do need to keep in mind though as you go to put this together is really keeping in mind the orientation of each individual component and the build order that you're going to be putting them in. So the big thing is a lot of the cable management here is actually really easy if you run it first. So for example, running your top cables, your like 8-pin for your CPU, all that kind of stuff, doing that before you put the board in place, and especially before you put a larger cooler like this in, makes a big difference. Same thing with something like the graphics card. This graphics card is slightly above a 2-slot and barely fits. I'm talking like barely fits. Honestly, you should probably go with just a straight 2-slot card. But that being said, you can still put this thing together fairly easily in an afternoon and have an entire back-to-school setup before you actually have to go back to school. For peripherals, we did opt to go with HyperX this time around, and I've actually got to give them a shout out for their excellent Ingenuity software. Let's just say that we've used basically all the RGB software out there, and most of it is terrible. The vast majority of it is pretty bad. But HyperX actually has one of the best apps I've ever used. Not only is it a modern Windows app, but you've got excellent control over all the things you expect with not only like your RGB and everything for your mouse, but you also have it for the keyboard. And actually, let me talk about this keyboard for a second. So this is a 60% keyboard. This is the Alloy Origin 60. And not only is it really well built, it's got USB-C and whatnot, but the RGB looks nice and it feels nice to type on too. Yeah, 87 words per minute. That's actually on the upper end of what I'm usually able to do. I really like the red switches in here. Honestly, especially considering the price, this is a solid combo, as well as our headset, which I would love to demonstrate with a game of F1 2021. I should undo our nice little wrap here. Yeah. So I'm actually surprised. I have not started playing yet, but it is defaulted to very high settings as well as ray tracing on. Let's see. Oh, it's raining. That was gonna be bad. That is so smooth. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, we're just gonna take it nice and easy. Ah, they're everywhere. Okay, all right. We're gonna stay nice and clean on this one, okay? Nice and clean. All right, dive bomb it. Yeah, boy, yeah, boy. So the performance is great. I've been getting 130 to 140 frames per second this entire time. And especially F1 in the rain is, I wouldn't say it's super demanding, but especially with a little bit of ray tracing on, pretty impressive. I got the run. Yeah, boy, let's go. This is actually like top 5 F1 races for me of all time. Ken doesn't know this, but I've actually been practicing F1 because I'm tired of losing in Broke vs. Pro. Wow. So that is our back to school gaming PC setup. Of course, huge shout out to our kind sponsors over at Micro Center. So if you want to know more about any of the things that we use for this setup, the links will be in the description. And while you're down there, why don't you subscribe and ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you'll be always notified for our latest content. I mean, with content like this, who wouldn't want to be subscribed? Besides your weird ex-husband. Whoa, wait, whoa. That was a little more aggressive than I thought. That was a little more aggressive. I was trying to make a joke, and I was like, wait, why did I just say ex? Well, if your ex-husband might enjoy the videos.